this thing set up. Try to get this thing set up. So I'm just coming to you live, just getting it going. Hmm. It's gonna be a pretty simple one today. Can't really. Um, Shaquille O'Neal restored Kobe Bryant's first vehicle. Uh, when Kobe was a rookie in LA, and he's been in touch with his mother. So I wanted to bring this up because for some people who may think that he still mourns losing Kobe. So I just thought I'd talk about it. He really took it to heart, and so I thought I would, we're gonna talk about it. Do you still think that he's done an honorable job by the man? So, you know, so anyway, it's just a simple question. Because I think he's been one of the few people that's truly honored him because he stayed in touch with his family. He was the only one to get up there on the podium and acknowledge Kobe's uh, parents at the service. So thought I would talk about that. So anyway, I am live here today. Welcome to Wednesday. It could be morning, afternoon, or night, or it could be early Thursday morning, wherever you are in the world. Hello, how are you? And I thought I'd come on in here. We're gonna be here for a minute. We'll see if anybody shows up. Um, Sometimes the notices don't go out, sometimes they do. So we're gonna see what's up. I'm sending out notices right now, so that's why if you see any delays, don't be worried. We'll see how many people come in here today though. So I am live. And I'm sending them out. So just so you know, I have to send these things out to make sure that I connect. So sometimes it takes a little time, but that's all the reason why you see a little fuzz buzz. I am here, so feel free to come on in if you're coming through. So we are here today. What's happening? How you doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? Your timing is perfect. I just sent out my notification, so okay, well that's fine. I mean, maybe you didn't really pay much attention. Um, he restored Kobe's rookie car he had, and he's been in touch with his mother. He was the only person at the funeral services to acknowledge the Bryant family. And I thought I would touch about it because I thought it was what a gesture. I thought, well, I understand that I've had these problems and issues. It took me a while to finally get everything sorted out. I got all my stuff up the line. If you hear any echoes, because I got my computer on with the phone, that's all it is. And I will turn that down in just a second. But I had to figure it out how to mess with Wi Fi. It's all good. How are you doing today? I'm glad you came through. At least I know I won't be talking to myself into a screen today. So, well, it's just that if you Google it, he, since he passed, he has reached out and stayed in touch with Kobe's family. So, and Kobe's birthday would have been 47 last this past Sunday. So that's why I'm asking. But it's all good. Some questions ain't gonna be for you, some will be. Well, give me your interesting question. Let me see if I have an interesting answer. I don't understand that one. Oh, okay, that's a great question. Oh, that's a good one. Um, that's a great one. Afro eccentric. I would say Badu. Because Badu almost is like she's fashionable into some kind of voodoo. She's almost like a tribe. She really takes it upon herself. Lauren Hill looks the part and has it authentically. She doesn't quite go to the extreme that Badu does. It's a good interesting observation. That's a great question. You know, I like that question. I really like that question because I don't get asked about Erica Badu enough. On Lauren Hill, and no one has ever asked me about those two sisters. That they was popular in the 90s. Lauren Hill was like a wave, though. I mean, she was so big for a moment, and then it just kind of like it just disappeared. But I do have a future thing I'm going to use with Lauren Hill. You just inspired me. So thank you. I knew you come in handy because it just dawned on me. I'd say the rest of development because they were from Tennessee and their whole premise was about very rooted. The roots were like a hybrid type of thing that was half conscious, sonic, but there's something about AD that was a little bit. That's what they was. The Fugees were just some Hollywood thrown together kind of amalgam, really. I mean, they jacked the Godfather sequence for the score album. They weren't really. I mean, yeah, Wycliffe from Haiti and Lauren and all that, but I didn't. I just thought they were basically. I'm not gonna say that they were faking the funk about their roots, but I always thought they were just kind of like stand-ins, really. I mean, let me be real with you. Most of those acts are when they got some money, their consciousness didn't stay the same. Most of them, you know. I'm just keeping it 100. Because I remember when Common wasn't the way he was, and next thing I know, he got in a Red Dr. Pepper commercial like he Michael Jackson history era, and he got that Oscar, and he's bopping his head. So I don't really put a lot of stock in that. I seen these acts when they were so-called consciousness. I think that there's a combination with him. I think it's more. I think it's believable. I think it was a PR stunt, but I also think that they threw with him. I think that they don't really have much use for him anymore, and he really don't have the kind of talent to kind of flip it. He had a lot happen so fast, so quick, so soon, and they put him on the stroll, and he's basically being left to kind of, have to kind of like fend for himself. The only thing that's really working against him is because the assault charge, which again depends on what kind of lawyer he's got, how they can maneuver that. They can get that thing dropped to a misdemeanor. They can almost work it off. I don't think it's a Jesse Smollett situation. I think he's really, you know, got because his situation is so unique because he won all those awards and he was kind of big for a moment, even though he was big during lockdown. And I mean, let's be realistic. He had some incredible video budget. He had commercials, but there's something about his situation that does come across fake, but it's not because of him per se. Hmm. The message is that he works for Hollywood. That's what a pimp gets, but that's what a prostitute does. That's what that message was. That's how you gotta. You, if you ever watch my videos when I say booty for looty, cheeks for checks, that's exactly what it was. He was walking the stroll. He's walking the stroll like a prostitute. That's what it is, basically. He's doing what they do. You just see people with clothes on. That's what they do. Think about it. Old Country Road, the biggest selling single, Billboard. He got him awards. He had all that hype, and we ain't talking 10 years later. Yeah, she. I think it was an Asian woman or something she did. Yeah, but that ain't her first rodeo. They ain't never gone after her by putting people's stuff in drinks. She's again these people that they got out. They are. It's just a matter of you know. You'd be a surprise at how you know. Well, I heard about the fact she spiked some drinks. She admitted that's on Google. Hmm. She did some old Bill Cosby action back in the day. You go look it up. But ain't nobody gonna talk about it because they made a gravy train out of her. She's always in some trouble for putting hands on people or doing something. So she old hood rat. She was a kept woman by old boy from the Migos, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Think she took some money or something. I had heard about it, but nothing happened though because again, she's a woman. They don't do that to men like they don't do women like they do men in that situation. So you usually don't make an example of a woman like to do a man. So, but anyway, it's all over there for you to read, though. Hmm. I think he's gotten married or he's engaged or something. That's what I heard. And some people were trying to compare the Lil Nas X situation. That's what it was. But it's not the same thing. It's not the same. Because Jesse Smollett was never big as Lil Nas X, for starters. No, no. The thing is that if you got any kind of notoriety and you're known, they're not just snatching you up. That just doesn't. I haven't quite seen that happen. You know. I mean, when you think about somebody that's kind of known and famous or got a name, when was the last time you heard about somebody getting snatched up and like that? That was in Hollywood. Think about it. Now you might get a cap in you. Yeah. What up? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Yeah, I be on here 3 or 4 times a week, but we just now catching up. I'm gonna be on tomorrow too. Not on Friday and not on Saturday. And not on Sunday, so I'll be back next Monday. So after tomorrow, take the weekend off. But if you want to do a live kick, I tell people all the time, if you want to do a live stream with me, catch me, and then also hit me up on Facebook or whatever you see me on. Well, hit that poll question. Jay Will, please hit the poll. I think he can say that about him because he's seen his work ethic. He saw a young man put the work in and become a great player. Regardless if he believes he's in the GO conversations or not, Kobe did put the work in. We cannot dispute that. And if you go by his era and his time, for his era and his time, I can understand it. I wouldn't put him there, but I will say that his work ethic, because I remember when the cat threw up those 2 air balls in Utah. So for him to emerge and be an all-time one of the greatest all-time leading scorers and and do what he did, he put the work in. Oh, I'm not taking him over Duncan. No, they don't. It's just like Kim Kardashian's story about getting robbed in France and selling right and Usher's parking lot and Beyonce stuff getting stolen. That stuff don't sound legit. People got a better chance of getting, took it than they do for them to get. D Wade first. LeBron's got to be on there because you can't be a two-time MVP and Finals MVP and all that, and four straight trips to the finals and not be on there. So he's got to be on there. Shaq's got to be on there for me. And I think the last Heat person that I'm going to probably put is probably Alonzo. So there you go. Shaq. I got D Wade, Lonzo, LeBron and Alonzo. That's my four. Shaq and Morning both will be on my mount. No, he didn't have the kind of impact those guys did. All those guys got championships. He didn't finish. The second best for all time Sixers? Or are you talking about the first four? I understand your question. I was having a debate picking players in prime Sixers. You can make a case for Billy Cunningham because he was considered one of the top 50. Mm. Make a case for Charles Barkley. And it might not be fashionable to say this, but Joel Embiid will get some love because he was a league MVP. That's going to be kind of hard to ignore. I think they emulated her by their approach to Afrocentrism, by the way their lyrical content and their energy. It was more, it was like kind of like them emulating Roberta Flack. It was more by certain nuances. However, don't get it twisted. Lauryn Hill and Erica Badu couldn't carry Nina Simone's flower in her hair because Nina Simone was raw, soulful, organic, spoke her mind. Those two, I like what they did, but they're not Nina Simone. Lauryn Hill was a product of being a Broadway theatrics. She was almost like the black version for Glee. And Badu is a stage performer, and she kind of takes on the nuances. It's that Nina Simone was a different hit. Chocolate Sisters with natural hair and natural vibe, but in terms of way they hit the way they hit the words and the kind of product that they hit with the people, no, Nina Simone was far deeper. Well, Jay Will, this all depends on who, what you depend on, what your criteria and your argument is. Some people have a kind of criteria where they, when they taking four different people. But I think that Barkley, Joel Embiid, Billy Cunningham, and I gotta think of one more. Well, rightfully so, because you don't mess with a TV wrestler. That's just stupid. Because those guys are trained and their bodies are not. You know what the cat did, Roger Jackson did, was just unnecessary. You know, so they were just stupid. Ted had mentioned it to me in here the other night, and I sat down and watched the video because I did a video, and I thought, oh, this was just brutal. I've seen that in movies and stuff, but to see it real life is just. Ugh. And you gotta understand that an MMA fighter and a UFC is too different than what TV wrestlers do. I'm not. Listen. Kobe Bryant is very polarizing to me. Very. I was a Laker fan once upon a time, and I watched the whole thing with him and Shaq. And I just thought that, my issues with him was always on the court. Nothing about off the court, even though that's another story. But he did some stupid stuff as far as how certain things. People talk about how, and he was a great player. Make no mistake about it. One of the toughest guys I've seen. But he also powdered on the team. He quit on the team. Phil Jackson wrote a book said I can't coach the guy. He didn't want to defer with Shaq, and you can say a lot of stuff about Shaq and pick on this and the other, but Kobe did some disrespectful stuff. You know why, Mister? I hate the Shaq. You talking about the Kobe fans that disrespect Shaq? I don't like it because the so-called heads on sticks. Now, but if you notice, every time they have where they rank all time, Shaq is usually always ahead of Kobe. You notice that. So people in the know he's better. Well, Charlene, that's a bit loaded. Reggae is always consistent more about most of the stuff is bass and drums. Country's more with the guitar. R&B pop, it's all about the same. So it's always about the bass, the drum beat. It always starts with the beat. Yeah, they conveniently act like the fact that I bring up a legit argument with this. He never won without a dominant low post player. I love how they throw at me. Well, Shaq didn't do much without uh D Wade, Penny, and Kobe. I said, but he had a 1-2 situation. Kobe, they tried the Scottie Pippen thing with him and Lamar Odoms, and it didn't work. And they were getting knocked out early. They tried him and Meta, it didn't work. It wasn't until they got Paul Gasol. They tried to re-update it with Dwight Howard, it didn't work. So, his style loaned itself a low post dominance. He won the rings against Boston by having Andrew Bynum and Paul Gasol. So he had a two-man committee. So I don't want to hear nobody saying that he did it without, they talking about, well, yeah, I know he led with Smush Parker, what he did, but I'm saying better. It has no fashion. There was a time that they stood out. I don't know what they're doing now. I mean, if you're telling me as far as cats making a merch living and not depending on the music to livelihood, they would be broke. They'd be having dusty jobs. If that's what you're coming from it from. Because they need a job while they rap because they don't make no money rapping. So if you're talking about that corporate tie-in, they need it. If you're talking about how these cats be dressing, they don't dress worth jack. Yeah, but it didn't work. See, that's my argument when I talk about the Kobe thing. Why you got to stop comparing him to Jordan. Jordan had a three-headed size men who were nondescript centers. Him and Pippen did all the work, and they set up everybody on the. It's a big difference. Well, it's been that way, Charlene, for like about 40 years now. So I don't think that but again, it's done because that's what they want to sell you on the lifestyle. But that's what popular music does anyway. All music has a certain things that they sell you on. Yeah, I remember. He came up big, but it was because of Gasol being in. What I'm saying is he don't win without a low post dominant player. That's the point I'm trying to say. And that's the only thing I would tell Kobe fans. Because it took every ounce of him to get that finals. Because I thought it was ingenious on Doc Rivers' part putting Rasheed at center. Hair. Wiggs and Weaves got to win out. Contacts is offensive from a certain perspective. The nails, unless you studying up close, and the lashes, if it's real noticeable, and dentures, obviously you'll know. Contacts, you'll notice. But the weaves and the weaves are real noticeable. But nowadays, the BBL is more noticeable. Okay, let's get some conversation going. I'll probably be on another 30 minutes if I can see some people coming through. So we got. All right now. Depends on who you talk to. That's kind of it depends on who you talk to. Because people use all three of them for different ways. I can't really answer that because people who are what's happening. Thank you for coming through. Verses from the Bible, there are people that's all they quote. Then you got old sayings that always in. You got inspiration. So they kind of all 1/6, half 1 dozen there. Great to have you. Thank you for coming through. Time. Welcome aboard. How much time you got today? And the floor is yours. Yeah, Charlene, it's kind of hard to say because people kind of like put all three of those things together. All right. And it's kind of like inspirational and verses and all that. They kind of like tie in together. What's happening? What's happening? Dap it up, dap it up. Got the crew coming back. Yeah, run it back. So the video's coming out tomorrow. Uh, you already know that if he had they beaten Philly, had they took that beat down, he would have married her at the end of the Super Bowl and retired. That was the plan. He looked like he was on his last leg, but Philadelphia knocked the stuffing out of him and put the diss track. Told him said you married the wrong girl, and they just doing the inevitable. I always thought they were engaged. She got a new album coming out next week, so that's what's up too. So, so she's getting to a stage where she's starting to get move on. So, but that's all. Yeah, I got the video coming tomorrow. I listened to what he said. I remember he was talking about, as a pitcher and what he went through, high school. Um, very articulate cat. Doesn't get no microphones pushed his way though. He'll never get on first take or nothing. You know. Yeah. It's a battle every day. Mm-hmm. There been some good interviews out this past year. His interview, Gary Sheffield, Barry Bonds. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what they're missing right now. Cause I mean, they about one legit arm right now from flipping the script in the American League, but I don't look at them as a legit team. Then, yeah, but they sure could use a workhorse like him today. So they'll probably battle out for the last wild card, though. I'm not impressed though. As a Yankee fan, it's probably one of the worst situations I've seen. They just mediocrity at best. I don't want to talk about them. I know somebody that's a Red Sox fan. I don't even. Yeah, well, it's a big difference when you playing for a team where your run count helps you, and as opposed to playing for a whack team that don't give you no runs. Because I remember when I lived near Seattle and Felix Hernandez, he didn't have nothing, and he was pitching great. Neither one of them, Charlene. Neither one of those two. I don't talk about those two at all. Those two are bought and paid for. Yeah, because if they can pitch and they can hit, they can always hit. It's the pitching that does them in. The best two teams I've seen, if everything was to hold a form, be Toronto and Milwaukee. Well, because he had to make it right in Cleveland, because Cleveland is known for like choke jobs. If we could go wrong, it will go wrong. But Toronto's legit. We'll find out. We'll find out. And one thing, they matched up pretty good against the Dodgers, but we don't know what it's going to be like when it comes money time. So I don't know. I think the Padres are frauds, though. They almost flew around and lost a game to Seattle. They just a strange team. They score all them runs, give up all them runs. Tejada should have been better. Usually I'm scarier myself because usually I can kind of forecast. I just no, that's not bold. That's crazy. You're gonna get an insane award. He don't never be no MVP. How the heck a guy that's a borderline middle second tier, high third tier gonna be an MVP? He ain't that good. He should be though. I tell you one thing, Michael Evans keeps on playing. They have a kind of offense, they spread formation. But the problem that gets him in trouble is when he go against legit teams or teams that can put that stranglehold on him and he gets exposed for stat padding. He's in a cookie cutter division, so he should look good. But that's not a bold one. That's just crackhead. Who they gonna surprise? They're not better than Philly. They're not better than Washington. And they're not better than Detroit. So I got about three or four teams better than them. Oh yeah, that was obscene what he did. I mean, yeah, thank you. Because when you're going against TV rasters, you don't do that. That's money involved, and them cats is bought and paid. I don't know what the most popular one is. I mean, some people may say China, some might say Japan. Japan. Funny you mentioned Japan because cleaner streets. And also, I heard that when they're on the bus, like when they're riding the city bus or something, or the train, or there are no conversations on no cell phones. So it's respect and order and calm. The technology, the streets are clean, the food. They got some freaky deaky too in the middle of the town. That was crazy as part. I remember old HBO Japan was like, wow. But they got probably gets much love. I know from a sound perspective, that's gotta be the most gangsters place. So they get love. Epstein. Right about now, Epstein Island is the most popular island because everybody want to know who was on there and what they know and what's coming to show. I don't really get into that kind of thing. I'm just keeping it 100. If only Fantasy Island was real. So I can't say. Most countries are racist. Um, it's popular. It's got great tourist attractions. Popular for different reasons. Mm. All depends on what your idea of what you consider places where you want to go. Because the people like different countries for different reasons. Well, if I knew it was things were safe and it's economical and you could live like at your utmost, Africa has always been, that would be, you know, the continent. Um, Spain gets love. It's hard to say because it depends on the pros and cons of it all. When you go to another country and you got that America in you, it's kind of hard to wash it out you because you always going to be comparing it to what you went through. So, and the whole baggage of the way they treat you and the whole thing. So, but I'd ask you which country would you pick? I think it's a good thing though if you do it. Yeah, places that you can learn something from. Because people don't really understand the beauty of that with culture till you get out. You have to get out and see the world. You have to take that in. That's why traveling is essential. You get a chance to go somewhere, do it. You know, spin that globe for real. You can tell when people been somewhere. Their nuances and the way they, not a buddy of mine said it was very racist. And and he was not what I call the most hip to stuff like that. That wasn't his suit. So for him to say that, I was like, whoa. Well, he was a good together brother, but he wouldn't come out and say racism and then blah blah. Bro. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some comments going. Let's see if we get some more. Keep on hitting the likes up where everybody's at. Holla at you, boy. Hmm. People 50-50 on Shaq. Okay, that's cool. Some people say that about Italy. Southern side of Italy is more flavor than the northern. Mm. I'd have to think about that one because I don't know what comes to mind. Hmm. Feliz Navidad. Merry Christmas. I never said there was anything funny about Jamaica. He's catching it, but Snoop's catching it too. I got a video about Snoop coming out tomorrow, so be on the lookout. Cause Snoop had no problem with the Starburst crew with his grandson at the theaters, and Snoop's talking about he's offended, and I cracked up. Oh, okay, okay, I'm sorry. Yes and no, he did. Right message, wrong messenger. Right message, wrong messenger. You can't be no so-called gang banging and have women on chains at award shows in public and talk about you offended. You can't be acting like you a pimp, all drugged out, all thugged out, and talk about you offended. And he's in an industry where he knows better. He knows how people roll in that industry. He knows cheeks for checks because he's probably allegedly. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. So I don't hear him talking about. And he also trying to appeal to Trump. That's what the slickness was, because he said 2022. I said, oh, Biden was in. Like, you're not even holding down who you supporting now. Oh yeah, he's an industry plant, and they ain't gotten into him. He's trying to talk conservative now. He's trying to act like yeah. That's what's up. Because once they got his initial charges expunged, now he's. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mhm. That's why I don't be trusting when the cats be talking, because I'm like, you been around how long and you just now discovering that? You didn't say that when Biden was in there, but now all of a sudden Trump's in there because you got to kiss the ring. I think that's being techie tacky. I'm gonna tell you why. Charles Barkley was great and he didn't defend nobody. Um, the thing about it is this: when LeBron was a legit defensive player, that came and went. But when when they switched everything where people were nondescript as far as like position, he's in a situation where he can say, well, there's not a particular one player to guard because they changed the rules. That's why when people be asking, can someone so guard 1 through 5? You might ask me about Rodman. I said, well, maybe in today's game, you couldn't have done it back in the day, but today you can. And so LeBron has that as a get out of jail because they don't have nothing to assign him with. So, but it depends on who the former player was, and can't think about that. It depends on what they about. Your father's right if they talk about if we're talking practicals. It depends on what our conversation is on. You know, depends on what they're. I mean, they'll show you what their hand is, but 2 seconds that's a pretty extreme that you really had a lot to figure. Um, Dax health, Dax health, Dax health, Dax health, and can they get and how they look against Philly? My sleeper team in the AFC is gonna probably be drum roll, please. This year is crucial for the Chargers. This is make or break. If they don't do nothing, then I think Herbert is a bust. Gino and Pete Carroll, really, really. I like the tight end a lot, and I think the defense plays up. But I don't see nothing that I'm going like, wow. They got some pieces, but I don't see nothing where I'm like, wow. I do think that division is probably going to be the most toughest though. Can't say players though. Amari Cooper. Yeah, he messed up so bad. He couldn't do nothing on the road. He tried. His style became like a one-dimensional, one-trick pony. I'm not giving Dak any excuses, and I don't look at him as a laughing stock. I think Jerry Jones is a laughing stock. I think that they don't invest in pieces. When they brought back Ezekiel Elliott to play back there with him, they messed up so much. I don't really talk about Aaron Rodgers though. I think this gonna be his last year. He's got a lot to prove this year. Um, I think the Chargers are a team to keep an eye on. I will begrudgingly admit, I'm going to begrudgingly admit New England will be interesting this year. But I think that the Chargers, Miami, Cincinnati, they got a lot riding this year. Well, to be honest with you, Tom, I kind of look at him like he never did because his 2 Super Bowl wins, he didn't really do much. That Super Bowl against the Colts, that's a Rexy Grossman fumbled, and they really didn't do much in that Super Bowl. He looked embarrassing in the 2 Super Bowls where he lost, and whatchamacallit was the MVP in that Super Bowl against Carolina. So he didn't do nothing in none of the Super Bowls. I'll look at it like this: he's got 2 rings and that, but he is more of a regular season. It's kind of like Clayton Kershaw. Regular season, he's incredible. Postseason, and not so much. Tomlin will either be good with Rodgers or it could be almost the end for him. R. Kelly and Ronald Isley. Because Michael and Stevie both came out in the 60s, so that's not really old new. Whitney came out solo in the 80s. Petty Pendergrass, it wasn't a difference. The R. Kelly Isley one is more because that brought another era to the Isley sound. So if you mention it from that perspective, it's the R. Kelly and Isley. Because Download was huge. Kelly and Ron, yep. Contagious. I mean, they had this R&B hip hop opera and all this. And there's a whole generation who only knows Ron Ozzy's Mr. Biggs. So that should tell you right there. That's the win right there. They were dominant. I heard a song yesterday by Teddy Swims and R. Kelly. Oh, R. Kelly got songs with a lot of people. A lot. He really had a battery on him. You mean Sean McDermott? You talking about the Bills head coach? That's what you trying to say? You talking about Sean McDermott? He should be on the hot seat last 2 years. Shoot, the guy's 7-6. They 7-6. They lost to Kansas City 4 different ways. I don't know how he still got a job. Because you got a guy now that's a league MVP at your quarterback. Oh, McHerman. Yeah, because he gets beat by the same old stuff. The defense sucks. Kansas City couldn't even find 30 points for a whole month or two, and then they go against them, and then they find 30 points. And they only beat the Ravens because there was a fumble, because a couple of turnovers in against the Ravens. Shouldn't even beat Lamar and them. Defense is horrible. So I think he should be on the hot seat, but again, Bills Mafia ain't gonna like me. I don't sugarcoat my teams. I just don't. I leave that to other people. If you're stinking it up, I gotta say you're stinking it up. And it's tough being a Bills fan because you just know they're gonna find a way to lose. I mean, Josh Allen did his best Peyton Manning, no turnover, low key ballman last year, got the league MVP, but they still end up losing, Kansas City. So I'm like, I don't know which way what you keep doing. So that's how I feel about it. But yeah, the Bengals, Miami, the Chargers on the hot seat this year. I think they feel they got enough playmakers. I think their biggest problem they thought was the offensive line. And I think the secondary's guy, you know. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about them. I think they'll figure it out though. The Giants have no quarterback time, okay? Let's not even kid ourselves. They got the makings of a bad reality TV show. No, they hoping Dart's legit. They hoping he's legit. He gonna take a beating, okay? We know Russell is punch drunk, and we know Jameson is gonna, do Jameson thing. That looked good in preseason. He might have a couple decent games. Come on now, Ted, stop. You ready for the record? Come on now, 6-11-1. Okay, stop, man, stop. 6-11-1. Stop, man. Stop, man. Stop. 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 Stop the cap. No good and well. 4, 5, maybe 6 wins tops. They the Giants. They riding the bottom hard. Riding the bottom. Dable, who's the head coach, is on the hot seat. Oh yeah, well he's entertaining. He got a chance to be a good sportscaster. He's hilarious. He's funny. He is funny. He's naturally funny. Like I think he can put him in a movie right now. But I don't want him on quarterback in my team though. But he funny though. They suck though. Come on now. They suck. When you got all them quarterbacks they got, a rookie and two veterans, you have no quarterback. You're just like you're the Cleveland Browns or the NFC. So I got to call it like I see it when we come to Mr. Winston. I don't know who you is, so before you start asking how old people is, introduce yourself and have a conversation. I don't go around here introducing how old because I don't, we don't really kick it like that. 60% saying Shaq has done enough. That's good. I like that. Well, see you. I hate it when people come in here and they get in their feelings and then because they want to ask trivia questions and I don't even know who they is. And they're going to be disrespectful. You just don't come up to somebody and ask a question unless you know them. And if you're going to ask that kind of question, you know, it's a way that you do stuff. I think there's more to it than that, too. So, all right, let's get some more stuff in here because I'm right here waiting, waiting, waiting. And I won't let nobody distract. And I've been posting up these videos on when people see them again, they come up on the podcast. Hmm. Okay. Jameson is worse. Come on now. Because at least with Kirk Cousins, he pimped like he was a first tier. He's really a second and morphed like a third, but he actually did enough with Washington enough. Jameson ain't never been more than a good backup to the backup. I like Jameson's attitude better, but Kurt's better quarterback. But that's not saying much though. There's a high third tier and a low third tier. And that's how I look at them. They both in the same tier for me. Uh that's hard to answer. Cause I haven't heard our rappers talk about characters. Everyone was a back over behind the back over. So Charlie Ward was when they wasn't letting brothers quarterback Heisman Trophy. That's the best way I can tell you that back in '94, because I remember when Charlie Ward came out and he ended up having to be a point guard for the New York Knicks, and they weren't pushing brothers as quarterbacks, and it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. Or you would have had to be like Cordell Stewart and be a slash and do 15 different things. So I don't know. Yeah, Jameson is like something you see in Good Burger. And he got a decent little arm and he can make some stuff happen, but he did a 30 for 30, which they didn't ask for. 30 touchdown passes, 30 interceptions. So eh, he took 30 to 30 too serious. So that's how I look at him. But I like Jameson better than I do Kirk Cousins though. Well, the reason is because the bad linebackers, they was, staying still, quarterbacks were getting hit, so they had to adjust to the game. They didn't want black quarterbacks leading the way. I remember it all too well. Way back in the day, you had a Vince Evans that was quarterback in the Chicago Bears. You'd have the one black quarterback, and he mobile, but he was in a non-winning situation. He had a janky receiving core, be like Michael Vick's situation. How many black quarterbacks came along and had a system that was conditioned that was enable them to just kind of, what was the guy with that Vince was? I don't. I have to think. Well, no, cause see that Brian Leftwich couldn't run, but he got the quarterback. And Leftwich had a big hand in Brady winning that Super Bowl. Maybe that's why Ted was saying that he got a chance to be MVP. Cause Brian Leftwich can't get no head coaching job, but he had a hand in when the Buccaneers when Brady won as quarterback coach. Yeah, I can't think of who that was with Vince Scully. Cause I didn't really watch Vince Scully do anything but baseball predominantly for the Dodgers. If you we're gonna keep it 100. But he did have one of the most distinctive voices though. I'll give you that. They all got a raw deal. Turner Gill got a raw deal. Joe Gilliam got a raw deal. James Harris got a raw deal. Eldridge Dickey got a raw deal. We can go on. Colin Kaepernick, raw deal. What you want me to start? Even old sorry RG3 got a raw deal. I mean, Russell Wilson got a raw deal. Shoot, what do you want? Because what black quarterback? I mean, Mahomes is the rarity because he's winning. Jalen Hurts is getting a raw deal right now while we jiving. Shoot, the guy that gone to two Super Bowls in the last 3 years, and he's a Super Bowl MVP, and he has a winning record and does what he do, and he gets treated. You think that he was Trevor Lawrence or something? The way or Matt Shower or something. Oh, you talking about Air McNair? Steve McNair got done dirty. He was league MVP, co MVP with Peyton Manning in '03. Got locked out of Tennessee facilities. Jimmy the Greek Schneider but that was on the NFL show. What he got in trouble for is that he was talking about black athletes built like for the plantation, and they somehow okay, we cool, cool, cool. Apology accepted. But I wouldn't have fired him. He only said what the owners think. These cats don't say nothing unless someone says it. See, these things don't come up by accident. You know, just like when Burt Campaness was it? Yeah, the one that was the one that signed Jackie Robinson, Al Campanis, and he made his remarks on Nightline with Ted Koppel. They be hearing stuff. I told you before, is the greatest mental illness in America is racism and institutionalized systematic. And once in a while, when they slip up through the cracks, Gruden never denied what he said. And see, the thing about it is that's a token win. He shouldn't even. He should get a settlement, but he should shut up. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I did a video about it already. If you watch my video, Gruden is no different than what happened to who? Donald Sterling, LA Clippers owner. He was caught red-handed making racist remarks about his mistress and Magic and his wife, and they let him go. That's the thing. That's what John Gruden is acting like. Like you don't deny that that's you. There was no AI. There was no distortion. You a bigot. You have homophobic agendas. You have different kind of things that you not you got stuff. So you're not denying that. You got aired out. He's over and he's under. When he got robbed out of that potential sack of Brady and maybe a fumble, you can debate it if you want. The Raiders were a legit team. So he did show he could coach. However, he does have Tony Dungy's ring on his finger. But I will say this: as time went on, he was very mediocre, and all he did was make faces. He has a good, sharp football mind. He wasn't a bad broadcaster, but he didn't never recapture what he had with the Raiders early part. He didn't keep that kind of momentum. So therefore he falls in you know. But it makes no difference about who was on and what. I love Randy Moss as a receiver. When he's my second all time favorite wide receiver and probably the most gifted receiver I ever saw. On the personal side, yeah, he been bought and paid for. Tell me something I didn't know. And I say that not to snap on you or nothing like that, but he sat there with Belichick and all them, and that he always played a role. Oh yeah. Hmm. Listen, I'm glad he's healthy and getting his health back. But these cats, you got to stop thinking like Malcolm told you. Stop thinking about these cats because they big black and they look a certain way. They don't comb their fro out and they look like they could scare white folk. They not what you think. They not. Most of them ain't what you think they is. You know. See, I can respect a cat like Ben Wallace because he's still Ben Wallace. Like these cats, man, look, they get a couple dollars, get some Coke, Cadillac, Coke, Cadillac. Yeah. Hmm. And then Coke, Cadillac, and the chicks and clothes. Yeah, that's why she didn't sign with the Lakers. He told it him and Darvin Ham were homies. Darvin Ham had a job for him. He said, "Nope, I'm not coaching with LeBron. I'm not doing it." That's right. You notice Gilbert Arenas gets a TV gig. You notice Cam Newton gets a TV gig. They don't even look the call sheet. Oh, I know it do because when Ben Wallace, remember when they beat the Lakers, you're like, can you dig? And I got a friend of mine. They East Indian, right? From India, right? Shoot, they was scared of that fro. And mama was scared of that fro. I kid you not. Ben Wallace's fro had them scared. So I know. That was a black team up there. David Stern was like, here's the trophy. Shoot, man, look. I already know. That fro was no joke. But I'm just trying to tell you, man. I don't have no. And see, this is the thing. I love Moss as a receiver and all that. I can love Cats as talent, but I don't. I don't have no. It did because when Rodney Harrison talking about, I didn't know he was black and all. I'm like, man, look, you see that fro? The fro was powerful because he was raising the fist. Of course, it was powerful. Please, no. Very few people are gonna go and tell it like it really is. I think that Damaris Smith, he got a book out talking about the NFL plantation because he was in there with all of them. He was on Jamil Hill's show. I got to do a video about him. Told the truth. It's real. People don't like it when you tell it though. Show did. Everything about Bill scared him. Because I tell all the time about Bill Russell. If Bill Russell was white, they would rename a place in Massachusetts a city after him. Okay? It'd be Bill Russell, Massachusetts. Okay? Please. For all the stuff what he did for them, be Bill Russell, Massachusetts. They should do it anyway. Shh. That man never got his due. Never. Still don't. Everything about Malcolm scared him. Glasses, eyebrows, because he wasn't for the no BS and they couldn't fade it. And he caught it on both sides when he was hustling in the streets and when he became, when he made his conversion. Because there is nothing more scary than a black person with a strong mind and will. And if you free, people know you free. They can't fade you. There's nothing scarier than a black person that's free. Cause you ain't scared. You will tell it. You ain't scared. They can't take nothing from you. I ain't got no problem with their hair. It's what comes out their mouth. See, the hair and that's they know that that's part of who they are. And see, this is the thing. That's how you know they're acting because good and well braids and froze won't get you no corporate job. You know good and well that white man gonna look at you and say, "Well, what's that?" Good and well that that you what you're doing. So if you're gonna go ahead and do it, you already know what the game is. Because to get your hair braided and matted and plaited takes time, and only some people know how to do that. Get your fro out where they don't dry it, and you put some line in it. Again, so yeah, what a hair scared. Listen, hair do be scaring white folk. They do. That's a fact. I've seen it up close. Or I had a woman I knew back on the bus. She would go. She told me about her white roommates, and they're like, "Oh, let me touch your hair." Oh wow. It's almost like Space Jam when Michael Jordan said, "Can I give you the power? Touch it." And Afro had him in trance, man. It do have power because people be wanting to touch it. They be all in a trance. It's like, wow. They look at you like you from Mars or something. Hmm. And I still see white folks with fake Afro wigs on. Hmm. People like it's a novelty, but that's part of our culture. That's the thing. That's how we identify. That's how we signify. That's our African. That's our Africa. That's our motherland connection. Our hair. But see, black folks with hair got statements no matter what. I seen black cats with perms, blowouts, jerry curls. That's a statement too. Let me say this about hair for a moment. Black people can rock any hairstyle you can think of and make it original. Brothers be rocking perms. And white boys can't get their hair like that straight. Even with straight hair, they cannot rock it like, cause that hair, when that thing is done. Jerry curls, Lester curls, fades, flat tops, mohawk, spikes, you name it. Well, Mr. T had the mohawk. He did. He had what I call a businessman fro. It was nice round orange style afro. Real rounded. OJ had one too. It's the shape of your head. Dr. J had that spring fro, because that fro he be in the air and then just go on you. You know, so different cats had different fros. I'm just saying. Yeah, he had a conservative, nice little one. You know, the Silvers had them blowout fros though, like the Jackson Five. You know, their fros be well rounded and groomed. So I seen it. It was a political, spiritual, social statement. And what Artist Gilmore had that old man fro. Let's say Josh Childress. And I remember the fro he had. But the point is that it'd be real. It'd be real. Yeah, he did. He had that, and when it was like when he got his good paycheck, he had that like I just got paid mullet. Put a little drip in there, and then that thing kind of like moisturized. Because at first he just had like regular hair. It was like we need a stylist for Larry Bird, so they put that mullet. They got it, and his was like had a little gel in there, almost like he had a little S curl. Cause he was the only white cat that I know that had that. You know what I'm talking about. He the only white cat that I remember that had that. Cause Cam McHale had that Herman Monster hairdo. Deadlift Shrimp had a spike. He had a spike. He had a mohawk. Had kind of like a yeah. And he had a mullet mohawk. He had a multiple. Chris Mullen had the crew cut like Howard Long. Mark Price had a regular white dude. Stockton had a businessman, Bill Gates type. Oh, Ben Wallace, yo. Ben Wallace, yo. That fro was scary and hard. And believe it or not, Kobe, the 98, 99, that fro was dry. That was dry fro. Me and my boys used to crack on Kobe's fro. So you making $20 million and your fro is just dry. The Afro Sheen can't find your head soon enough. You need a hair care product bad. His fro was dry. Dry fro. It was just like his outside shot at the time. It was not hidden. Sorry. But he worked on it though. He did put some most on that about when they start winning championships, then that fro was going back and they kind of tightened it up. He sure did. He need some fruits and berries up in there. But no, Ben Wallace's fro scared them folks though. Rashid had that old middleman fro. He had a middleman hairdo. But Ben Wallace's fro was scary. I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you if you bowled up on people like Charles Oakley, if you mean mug like Kendrick Perkins, and you had Ben Wallace's afro, you'd have the scariest brother that ever hit the basketball court. Yeah, Kyrie had a nice little tight one. Iverson had a crazy blowout because I remember when it blew out, that thing was bugging. Because he did the slam cover and he had that throw out. I remember. He's scared, white boy. He's scared. David Stern was scared of him. He's like, oh. But he was conservative. See, his was kind of like tight. Him and the Kimbays didn't really. Like to an extent, but then they kind of got used to him. No, ain't nothing. Yeah, cause he got like this fro mullet Jerry curl, which is like all greasy, but it ain't really like that. They don't know what to do with his hair. And he could be scarier than he can imagine if he chose to be. Yeah, it's a fro mullet with a little power groove. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. Michael Vick's braids was scary for a moment. For a moment. Most of the brothers in the NFL though, they had like the Jamaican, they had like the dreads though. Cause I remember all them cats with the Green Bay Packers had them long dreads though. Them cats had them dreads though. Funny you put your Packers, cause I remember that. All right. We got lively here for a moment. We definitely was getting lively. Appreciate everyone that taking the time to watch and hit the likes. And if you got questions and coming through, don't be shy. I will be back tomorrow too, by the way. So no need to fear. But I'm gonna be off for the weekend though, after tomorrow. So got stuff to do. But I will be on tomorrow. But let's keep it going though. If you feel like I got something to say. We start talking about black hair. Shaq didn't have his too long. He had a little box for a moment. That's another thing. I could always tell you the era we in by how cats was rocking their hair. Cause I remember AC Green had an S curl, and then he had that fade. He had that he had that businessman tight fade, and then that box for about 25 years. Okay, I'm gonna see if anybody gonna come on. If nobody comes on, I'll probably cool it in about 5 minutes. I'm just waiting to see. I gotta think about that. Hmm. I mean, when I was a kid, I might have said Dirty Dick Dastardly. Him, the Sniggling Hound, because Dirty Dick Dastardly always had that mustache and that. I'm trying to think. That's kind of tough because really, I don't get asked that kind of question about a cartoon character. Because the cartoons I watch, there weren't what I call those kind of characters in the cartoons. Scooby Doo, Flintstones, Jetsons, cartoons I watched back in the day, Roadrunner. Only when he ate the spinach, because most of the time Brutus was a bully, but only ate the spinach. But I wouldn't consider him gangster because he was kind of like cornball. Because Oliver was a corny chick. Because when you say a gangster character, it's got to be something that stands out. He's a G, like you cool. I got to think about that. And I'm really hard. I'm stumped on that one because I never really looked at him like I go, oh, he's, stinking is a height. I was just, you must have been reading my mind in a suburban kind of way. Now I remember back in the early '90s, there were cats who was rocking around with "It's a Black Thing You Would Understand" with Bart Simpson on the t-shirt, and he talked a lot of smack, but it was more smart aleckly. I wouldn't look at him as gangster, but more smart aleck. I might say Bam Bam Rubble. Barney and Betty's son Bam Bam might be the most gangster. Cause Bam Bam was strong. That little kid was strong. So I might have to say Bam Bam. But I'm just not thinking right now. Cause that kid was strong. But we didn't really look at our TV characters as gangsters, like cartoon characters. So, all right. Okay, I'm gonna be on for 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna call it a day. And this one video will be up for a while and people can watch it. There's some pretty good rapport. Never know how it's gonna go because sometimes there are days when it's a lot more. There's some interesting questions though, and some interesting conversation. And don't ever feel like you're left out because if you ever want to know what some of the things we're talking about, you know, feel free to chime in. Ted and I had a good reminiscing though about that, about black hair though. It ain't no joke though. People who are watching this from different countries, America has really made a big deal about black hair. Cornrows, dreads, twists, hairstyles scared them. So, but so to go call it a day now. Appreciate everybody that came through, and I will be back tomorrow. So be on the lookout. Everybody wants to reach me, you can always find me on Facebook or Instagram. Well, my name, because you're bound to see me pop around different places. I'm on TikTok and all that too. So videos and what have you. So feel free to connect. All right. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Shout out to everybody that came through. Glad to have you. Glad to see you. We're going to do this again real soon. Peace.